What is up, guys, and welcome to the Meeple Minded podcast, the podcast where we talk all things tabletop gaming. My name is Jason.
And I'm James.
How are you doing this week, James?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good. Has it been a busy week for you?
No.
No, you've been taking time easy again?
Yes.
Or time off? I know you're off today, aren't you?
I was off today, yeah.
You're off today. See, that's why you sound awake. See, it all pans out, James. It all pans out because you sound awake, which is good. And we managed to play a game before we hit record today, which was pretty good.
We did.
One last game of, ironically, the game we're going to talk about today. So we'll get to that. But how have other things been this week, James? Been up to much?
No, the week is just getting started from our perspective.
This is very true. It is Tuesday as we record, which is a full week before the episode is actually released. So again, a little bit of behind the scenes stuff there. But yeah, we tend to record a week in advance, which is good. But yeah, last night was busy at our game club. We had a Pokemon pre-release event.
We did.
Did we have many... how was it? Did we have many people turn up?
We did.
Yeah, it was probably 20-ish, I think. Something like that. Around that number?
Yeah, around 20.
I can't even remember. But yeah, really good turnout for that. This new Pokemon set seems rather interesting and dirty. But then again, every new Pokemon set seems interesting and dirty.
Indeed.
Many other games of other things being played as well.
Yes.
I think I saw Eclipse...
Yeah, Eclipse.
Version 2?
Eclipse, Kemet.
Kemet was being played, yeah. I didn't see what the other board game table was playing last night.
It was samurai themed, I know that.
Rising Sun?
Possibly.
Was it Rising Sun? It might have been Rising Sun. I think it was. That was the guys from Board Stupid, obviously, playing that without Simon. Because, Simon using the excuse of he's too tired.
Yep.
Just for the record, Simon, at club last night, I'd been awake for 28 hours. So,
Poor excuse.
Poor excuse, good sir. Calling you out live on air. How about that? But yeah, other than that, there was a lot of weekend games being played. I think there was one.
There was a heresy game.
There was a heresy game.
There was a heresy game. There was Rupert and Joe practicing for Brighton Heresy.
Oh, of course, that's coming up, isn't it?
Yes.
Tournament in the South. Love it. And yeah, a few other games being played. Didn't really catch on because, as I said, I had been awake for 28 hours.
Indeed.
So, and I did leave early, so thank you very much for closing up, James.
Not a problem.
Probably a good thing because the second I got home, I was gone. So there you go. But obviously, being the fact that I was as tired as I was, we didn't play any games last night, and it's not our normal weekly game night yet, so we haven't actually played any games since we last sat down to record, which actually was only, 5 days ago?
Yep.
So there you go. No games played this time, but we did, James, play a game this time last year. Now, I think I know the reaction to this one, and I'm pretty sure I know where you stand on this game, because at the time you really, really liked this game.
Okay.
And it was Orlog the Dice Game.
Yeah.
We didn't particularly look too favourably on that game, did we?
No, we didn't.
And the weird thing, James, is it's still in my collection. And weirdly, it's one of the most played games in my collection. Not by me, but my partner absolutely loves it. And her little gaming group, they absolutely love that game.
I mean, if memory serves, we didn't rag on it for its gameplay. We ragged on it for its absolutely abysmal quality and price point.
Yes. Yeah, that is pretty true. Yeah, the game itself isn't bad. I wouldn't not play it, but yeah, the quality compared to its price point was just terrible. Really, really was. And I think even to this day, it probably holds that sort of value because of the name that's on it. But what can we say? I'm still of the same mindset. It's not worth anywhere near what they charge for it, but it's a pretty good game if someone's already got it.
Yep.
For the love of God, at least play it with them because they need to get some kind of value out of it.
Yeah. But just don't part with any money of your own for it, because not worth it.
No, not even in the slightest. So, James, big question. 1 year on, yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay. I think that's the first time we've actually had to say nay, and I'm there with you. It's a nay from me. But anyway, James, that was last year. We haven't played any games this week to talk about. There's not really anything else we can really talk about. So should we just dive straight in and talk about Reign of Cthulhu?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, guys, so we are talking about Reign of Cthulhu, the pandemic system game today. Been playing this a fair bit recently. So, James, the first question that I have, before we even dive into this, is what happens in a time where Lovecraftian theme, the Lovecraftian universe is plastered in every single game there is known to man.
Mm-hmm.
This was obviously before Marvel was plastered onto every game known to man. And then the other really popular game at the time was Pandemic. What happens in that time?
Pandemic releases a Lovecraftian themed game.
Evidently so, because that's what we've got here. It's not a carbon copy of Pandemic, it's a Pandemic system game. So it uses much of the same mechanics. But yeah, that's what we've got. We've got a Pandemic system, Reign of Cthulhu. So this was originally released in 2016, and then it came back into print at some point in the last sort of year and a half. At the time of recording, which is obviously 2023. It is released by Zman Games. Reign of Cthulhu is a cooperative action point hand management game for 2 to 4 players, aged 14 and up, with an estimated playtime of around 40 minutes. And at the time of this recording, I had a quick look today. You could pick this game up for around the £30 mark brand new. I believe the RRP is about 44. In Reign of Cthulhu, players take on the roles of investigators attempting to seal a series of portals before the old ones of unspeakable horror pour into our world, all the while trying not to lose their own minds. Can you and your fellow investigators manage to find and seal every portal in time? Will you succumb to your own mind crumbling into insanity? Or will the weight of the ever-increasing cult following prove too much to handle? That's a rough idea of what the game is, James. But what comes in the box when you buy Reign of Cthulhu?
Okay, Jason. Contained within the box, you get 44 clue cards, 7 investigator cards, 12 relic cards, and 4 evil stirs cards, 7 investigator figures, 1 board, 4 reference cards, 24 summoning cards, 1 sanity dice, 18 sanity tokens, 12 old one cards, 4 seal tokens, 3 shaggoths, and 26 cultists.
Nice. I don't like the insanity dice.
No one likes the insanity dice.
It's a real pain. But anyway, before we get on to gameplay, James, how do you feel about the components that come in this box?
Yeah, they're serviceable. Yeah, the little figurines are standard little plastic game miniatures. The cards are all good. The board is single layer board.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all pretty standard.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, compared to the normal Pandemic, which I know you haven't played, obviously, in normal Pandemic, it's cubes. There's coloured cubes. You don't actually get miniatures. So, obviously, the cultists that we have in this, they would be coloured cubes in Pandemic. So, it's quite nice to have those little miniatures. Adds a little bit more to the board. The miniatures themselves, they're not super detailed, but there's enough on them to know what they are.
Yep.
Especially the player characters.
The player characters are the most detailed.
And even then, I mean, we're not talking, GW level of detail. We're not even talking sort of Fantasy Flight level of detail. They're very, very bland, but if you wanted to paint them, they would hold paint well and they would look good. I mean, I've got no complaints at all about the miniatures used in the game. I actually prefer them over the cubes. So that's really good. The artwork on this game, James.
Yes.
Speaking as someone who doesn't actually like the Lovecraftian universe, which is my first hold my hands up moment in this, I'm not into the theme. I don't really care.
Yeah.
For the Lovecraftian universe.
I would have to agree with that. Different to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't dislike it, but I've never really been drawn into it.
No, exactly. Whereas I know a few of our good friends, we had Anthony over the other day, he's really into the Cthulhu mythos. I know Wayne from Board Stupid is the same. But yeah, I'm drawn into it, to be honest. The thing, the artwork is done so well that I feel immersed in the game, which is good, especially as someone who's not into it. The box is pretty good. It's a Zman Games box. They're all the sort of same. I don't really know what else I can really say about the components other than the fact that they are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Nothing super duper to shout about. No linen finished cards, I don't think. I think they're just standard.
Yeah. I think that's what summed it up, or what I said. Everything is serviceable. There's nothing to write home about, but there's also nothing that screams
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Components, I think we can say, it's pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good. So let's talk about gameplay, James. Do you like it?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. I thought you might, because obviously you were the one suggested that we play it today, which is good. So anything particularly that stands out to you about it that you really like?
I mean, it's quite enjoyable for someone who doesn't normally go in for the cooperative game. It is quite an enjoyable co-op game. I do find that. We were discussing this before we actually hit record. It's one of the few games I think that I've played that naturally scales its difficulty depending on player count, which I think is really good.
Yeah, I mean, from the games we've played, without a doubt, like I would say we've seemingly succeeded no matter what difficulty level we've set it at in order to. We've done really well at a 2-player. However, when we've played at the higher player counts, it's just naturally been harder.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I do think that the setup side of things is actually really good because you get, I believe it's 12 different old ones in the box, and you shuffle them and then randomly draw 6 of them.
Yeah.
So that adds to the replayability of the game, which is great. Number 7 on the track is always Cthulhu, and if that one is revealed, game over. But it's another one of them cult games, isn't it, James, where it's just sort of like, how do we win? Right, we seal all 4 portals. How do we lose? Right, break out the list.
Yes.
Because it's another one of those where it's like, if Cthulhu is revealed, you die. If you run out of cards in the draw deck, you die.
If everyone goes insane, you die.
Can't place any more cultists on the board, you die. Shag off on the board, you die.
Not quite. You get... It very quickly marches the track along to you die.
Yes, very much so. And we've had a couple of games recently, James, that have been over pretty damn quickly.
Yes.
So it says 40-minute gameplay.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty right. If you're doing a full game, like if you're playing it and winning, it's probably about 40 minutes.
Yep.
If you're playing it and losing, it's probably a substantial amount less.
I think when you and Anthony played it, we were 5 minutes, and then for us to lose.
Yeah, we didn't do too good on that one. Yeah.
Sorry, we sucked the world into a pit of madness.
But, I mean, you mentioned about going insane in this, Joe, so I think we could talk about the way the game plays just a little bit.
Yep.
So, much like Pandemic, you have a draw deck of where your areas are going to be, like the towns and stuff. And then there's also a cultist deck, which is how they spawn. So on your turn, you do 4 actions, unless your character says otherwise. You can use an action to move a space. You can use an action to fight, which just removes 1 cultist. If you're fighting a Shaggoth, you use 3 actions in order to kill it and remove it. There is playing a relic card, which is not an action, because it can be played out of turn, but whenever you do it, you roll a sanity dice.
Yep.
Now, sanity in the game, James, is effectively your life, I guess. Like, even when you run out of sanity, you don't die, per se.
No, you just go insane.
You go completely insane. So you start the game with 4 sanity, and you can lose sanity in a multitude of ways, as we said. If you go into a space with a Shaggoth, or it comes into your space, you have to roll the sanity die. From what I remember of that sanity die, there's a blank side.
Yep.
A couple of lose 1 sanity sides, 1 lose double sanity sides, and then a cultist side, from what I remember.
I believe it's 1 blank, 3 ones, a 2, and a spawn 2 cultists.
And the spawn 2 cultists, yeah.
It's either 3 ones or there's a 1 cultist and a 2 cultist. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think
there's only a double cultist from what I remember, but it's off the top of our head. We don't have it here at the moment. But yeah, so that's another way of getting sanity. You've got cards within the draw deck, which is the Evil Stir cards, James. And how fun are they?
Oh yes, they have a list of things to do.
It's exactly what you want, isn't it? When you draw a card and it's like, follow this list.
Yeah, everyone loves a good list.
And again, doing it from memory, it's something along the lines of you're adding...
You roll the sanity dice, you reveal an old one and do whatever it says.
Yeah.
You add a Shaggoth to the board, and then you reshuffle the discarded summoning cards and put them back on top of the draw deck.
But the wording there, James, back on top of the deck, which is an interesting mechanic, because normally it'd just be, just shuffle it all together. But no, on this one, it's on the top because that means all of those cultists that might still be on the board
are going to get reinforced.
And if you go above 3, that's when you start revealing more old ones and more bad stuff happens.
Yep.
You see where we're going with this. Knock-on effect.
There are multiple ways to get that ball rolling, and once it rolls, it's quite difficult to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, the game that we played just now, James, there was a point.
I thought we were going to lose.
There was a point that I thought we were going to lose as well. But we managed to claw it back with great teamwork, which is really rare for you and me.
It is.
But, I mean, it was a good game.
It was
a good game. It was quite down to the wire. We didn't have many cards left in that deck. But there you go. So, I mentioned, obviously, the fact that there's 12 old ones, and that's where a lot of the replayability will come from in this game. Do you think there's much else to the game that adds replay value?
Like I said, there's that natural scaling of difficulty between 2, 3, and 4 players, because your turn sequence is basically each player gets 4 actions.
Mm-hmm.
They do the 4 actions, they redraw their hand, and then they do a summoning step, which is how your cultists come onto the board, and you might draw your evil stirs cards or your relics and that kind of thing. This is where that natural difficulty scalability comes in. So if there's only 2 of you, it only happens after each player. So the more players you have, the more that summoning step is going on.
Yeah.
So it can start rolling away quite quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree.
And that draw deck of clue cards and relics goes down faster.
It does.
That's the main thing, I think, because you've got 4 people drawing from it instead of 2.
Yeah. And the other thing is, depending on how you set up the game and what difficulty you've decided, that draw deck can start with less.
Yes.
I think in most of the games we've played, we've had it set up that all the cards are in there. So it's deemed as a beginner game or whatever. Take out X amount of cards, becomes a standard game. Take out X amount of cards more, it's now an insane difficulty game.
Yeah.
I think I've deliberately set up an insane game once, but for the most part, we stick to that standard level.
But I like the way, because it is a fully cooperative game, that it just naturally scales difficulty based on how many players you've got. So that it's basically not, if we load it up with players, we're playing from the same rule set. So naturally, more players means we can get more things done.
Yeah.
Most games, that makes it easier.
Yeah. So, the real question is, James, it's a 2 to 4 player game.
Yep.
Do you think that this game would work at a higher player count, or do you think there's a good reason that they've capped it at 4?
I think because of the way they have designed that, if you went above 4 players, you would get that, more bodies on the table means you can do more. It would start to run away.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally think that if you were looking at 5 or 6 players, one, your downtime would be obviously longer. The downtime's not too bad in this game, but it would be longer with more. But more importantly, I think your decisions would rather be taken away from you a little bit.
Yep.
Because, as you said, things would just start running away far too quickly. I think 2 to 4 players is pretty good. I think 3 players is probably where I feel that this game has its sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Cool. That's good. What other pros can I think about this game? I do like the fact that you don't die as a character.
Yeah, there's that. When you lose your last sanity token, you flip your player card over, which has every player has a unique ability, and it's a handicap. Yeah,
and you lose the ability of 1 action per turn, I think, as standard, and then I think your special ability is therefore weakened as well.
Yeah,
but at that point, you can't really get much worse than that. And I also like the fact, as a move on from that if you are an insane character and you seal a gate or you close a gate, you then basically get to flip back to the normal side.
Yeah, you regain all your sanity and you reappear at the hospital or the church.
I think it is, of your choice, which is pretty good. It's like a free move.
Yep.
Which is great. But yes, I have some cons as well for the game, James.
Okay.
So this one is actually something that you've already highlighted, but I actually feel it's a little bit of a con, which is I don't really like the fact that the difficulty of the game is effectively set by taking cards out of the player game and making it faster. I also don't like the fact that you have almost no control over the difficulty when it comes to the old ones. Some of them are stupidly powerful, as we found out the other day. You know, I think it was like our second old one made everyone lose 2 sanity.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, it basically killed all of us in one go, which is a losing factor. We lost very early. I feel that there is a very, very, very steep difficulty curve that you have no control over, which I think is a bit of a con. What do you think?
I'm not so sure I'd put that as a con. I think that is a very situational con, because I think a lot of players would actually like that the fact that it is that random.
I like randomness in games, but the thing is, no matter which way you look at it, it's a pandemic game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very, very easy game. And I would argue that people that like that degree of randomness in the difficulty won't be playing a pandemic game. So let's say newcomer comes to Game Club, really, really interested in the Cthulhu mythos. I've tried to say, oh, let's play Pandemic. Oh, no, I'm not interested in that. Okay, well, this is probably the next best thing. But then if they then get an absolute battering in 1, 2, 3 turns and it's game over, that's not setting the right, the right mindset for me. That's why I'm not a huge fan of that.
Okay, I think I disagree with you on that one.
Okay, that's fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, even when you're wrong. But no, sometimes I don't mind it. So, it's a con coming from someone who runs games.
I think that is why, because I was about to say in your intro, or I was thinking about it, but now that you've said that, I think that's why the age rating is set 14 plus.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything else about this game, I'm not sure I agree with that. Yeah. But the fact that the difficulty is that random and this game might completely do you over within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That might be. I've literally just flicked my head to see what the original Pandemic's age rating is, and it's 8 plus.
Yeah.
I think that's why they've set it at 14.
It could well be, because there isn't really any sort of gore or anything like that within this game.
No.
So
because I was thinking that, and the mechanics are not that difficult.
No, it's pretty simple.
But I think it is that steep difficulty curve. I think that's why they set it at 14 plus.
I mean, I can probably agree with that. I think I'm on board with that. So yeah, that's fair. Okay, so this moves on very slightly from that point. I'm not a huge fan of the unpredictability of where the Shaggoths can spawn. As we found the other day, James, we had 2 Shaggoths spawning very, very quickly, and they both spawned 1 space away from an open gate.
Yeah, I would have to...
And then the next card we drew...
It moved.
In fact, the next 2 cards we drew, it moved, which means both of them made it to the gate and then closed the gate. Game over. We lost.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that one. I personally think they should appear out of one gate and have to move towards the next closest one.
Yeah, I mean, that to me would actually sound pretty good and more thematic, if you ask me. And that would then deal with the issue that I have, which is that when something like that happens, it gives the players no chance to react to it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's either that or because, as you mentioned earlier, when 3 cultists get on a space and you're instructed to effectively spawn a 4th one, the tile is considered full and you just awaken an old one. You flip a card over. Either what we've just mentioned, or when you're instructed to put that 4th one down, if you can't put it down, they become a Shaggoth.
Yeah, that would also work. But being that there's only 3 in the game,
yeah,
that would definitely ramp up the difficulty, because obviously if you can't place a Shaggoth, game over. But it would also maybe force you to fight them a bit more. So swings and roundabouts on that one. Okay, so going back to the replayability, James, I personally think after about 10 plays, be it 10 plays in a week or 10 plays in a year,
yeah,
I think I'll be done with this game. I don't think there's enough substance within this game for me to want to play this more than 10 times. And I'm saying 10 times generously.
Yeah.
I've played this game now for 6 times.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I'm really not bothered about playing it again. I know I've got to play it again very soon because someone at the club has requested to play the game. So we will be running this again very soon.
Yeah, I think that ultimately boils down to those that neither of us are that fussed by the theme.
Entirely possible. So yeah, James, any negatives that you have thought about for this game? Because mine are pretty simple, and evidently you haven't agreed with me on those. So have you got any of your own negatives?
Aside from what we were saying about the Shaggoths, I don't think so, because I disagree with you about the scaling difficulty. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Like I said, I think everyone is different. With me, as I said, I think I look at these games too much from running a games club for new people. And I view this as a gateway plus sort of level game.
Yeah, I think that, again, the problem you're looking with that mindset is that you're looking at this as a pandemic game rather than a pandemic system game.
Yeah.
I don't think it falls into the same category as the rest of them because of the theme, it is standalone from that.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, that's the fair thing to say here. It is a standalone game. It's not an expansion. It can't be mixed with the old pandemic games. However, James, when this was first released, it was actually known as Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only, I believe, with the reprint where they've actually changed it to a pandemic system game. Do you think there was a reason for it?
Yeah, possibly because of exactly what you said. And I think they've responded to that, which ultimately makes me think, yeah, right, they've officially put a separation between the two.
Yeah, and I think there was something they definitely needed to do. Because I think the other thing that's fair to mention is, obviously, we very rarely talk about designers on the show, but the original Pandemic was obviously designed by Matt Leacock, very, very famous for creating that game. However, this one has actually been designed by someone else, and I apologise because I'm going to butcher the name. Actually, it's not too bad. It's Chuck D. Yeager. It's the surname. I never know if I'm going to pronounce that right. But yeah, this one was designed by someone else, but using that pandemic system. So interesting. I'm not sure I've seen any other pandemic system games, James. Do you reckon they would do some more pandemic systems, maybe with a different theme? Possibly.
I mean, they're very nuanced as to what theme you could slap on them.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the next question, James. You've used the word. Do you think this is a slapped-on theme, or do you think they've actually spent the time and separated this?
I can't answer that without playing the original game.
This is true. Yeah, I'm probably the wrong person to ask on that, aren't I?
Yep.
I would actually say this is a separate game. I can definitely see why they refer to Pandemic while they're, with the game, but it's clearly a different game. It's not exactly the same. Thus, you wouldn't be able to combine the two. But yes, that's gameplay. Let's talk about value, James, because I think people have already figured out where I'm going to go on this one. What do you think about the value on this one? Is it there? Is it not there?
I'm not so sure I would be paying the RRP. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
For this, I don't think it's quite worth what they're asking RRP. The cheaper end prices, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, 30 is what I found it for, brand new.
Yeah.
Is that an acceptable level?
I would say that's at the high end of my tolerance, but not unreasonable.
Okay. So, for me, I think 30 is about right. I'm the same as you. I would maybe go to 35, but 40, 45, no, it's not worth that. If you love Cthulhu and the Lovecraftian universe, then you'll probably get more out of this than me. So maybe it's worth that little bit more. Let's be honest, with the amount of Cthulhu-based games out there, I think it's better.
I am purely basing that on what is in the box and quality levels. Let's be honest, although they weren't terrible, it's like, well, if I'm going to forking out 40, 45 quid, I'd expect to see more detail on the miniatures, better quality materials. All of you're moving into those areas for 45 pounds.
Yeah. The lower end, I would say it's worth it. What about value for time, James? Is it worth playing the game?
I would say it is, regardless of whether you're into the theme or not. It's a good co-op game.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm with you on that. Definitely worth the time to play the game. If you can get it at a cheaper price, it's worth the money as well. Collection status, James. Do you own this game?
I do not.
Are you going to own this game?
No.
No. Why are you not, James?
Because you own it.
Well, do I own it, James? Yes, I have a copy here right now.
Even if you put it on the for sale pile, and I would not rush out to buy this game.
No, fair enough. So yeah, for me, it's in the collection right now. We know it's going to be there for a little while because, as I've said, we've got someone who's requested to play it. After that, however, I believe that this game will make its way onto the for sale pile for pretty much just one reason. I've got the original Pandemic. I have pretty much all of the expansions for the original Pandemic, and thus the original Pandemic is going to provide me more replay value than the Reign of Cthulhu. So there you go. That is Reign of Cthulhu, the Pandemic system game from Zman Games. Yeah, shame. I was hoping for a bit more. I'm not going to lie. What are we going to do now, James?
I don't know.
I mean, we managed to knock that episode out pretty damn quickly, actually. I was expecting to get a bit more out of that. But, yeah. Shall we maybe play some games? Is there a particular game you want to play?
I'd have to look at the shelf and get back to you on that one, Jason.
There's a lot to choose. Did you see what turned up this week, James?
I did. I'm looking at it.
It may just be sitting there calling your name.
Mm-hmm.
It's Earthrising. It's the Kickstarter version of Earthrising. It's finally here.
It is. I think it might kick our butts quite severely at 2-player.
Oh, yeah. I'm interested to see what this game's like at 2-player. I do think we're going to get a little bit butthurt.
I mean, to be honest, it was bad when the three of us played it at the Worthing Gaming Con.
Yeah.
I think it will absolutely destroy us at 2-player.
I think you might be right. I do think you might be right, but I think we're still going to give it a damn good go.
Oh, we are.
We obviously had Hijack turn up as well. I'm looking forward to that because that's a nice worker placement game, and I do like me a nice worker placement game. Anything else you want to say today, James?
No, I think we're pretty much done.
Excellent. Then I think we will call it there. Nice short one for you this week, guys. Hopefully next week we'll have a little bit more for you. But until then, I have been Jason.
And I've been James.
And you've been listening to the Meeple Minded podcast. Join us next week for more tabletop gaming goodness. Ta-ta and goodbye.